Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
78520, 78501, 78539, 78550, and 78572. Ladies and gentlemen, those are the zip codes of our valley. And let me tell you, in the valley, 29% of the adults have a high school diploma, out of the 89.6% nationwide. Also, in the ISD alone, there are 37,072 students, out of which 73.9% are at risk of dropping out. Ladies and gentlemen, that is 27,000 students who might not be walking the stages here. Now, those numbers do not mean the valley lacks potential, that we don't have the people who have the talent to succeed. What it points to is that we simply grew up with fewer doors open to us. And as someone who's not a native to the valley, I could see both the gap and the lack of opportunities. And I share it with you because I know what one opportunity can do. I know what one leader can do and how far an access can take you. And because of that, I believe opportunity should not depend on the student's zip code. And the four-way test does not call us to simply admire success when we see it. It calls to ask ourselves whether we're creating that access for others. And so it's the truth. The truth is that the issue does not lie in the ability. It lies in the access. Many students have the intelligence, the curiosity, the ganas to succeed, yet they had fewer doors open to them growing up compared to a student down up in California or Massachusetts. Why do we have to face the repercussions of where we were born? And so, 4 years ago when I walked in as a freshman to high school, I was hesitant to hold a conversation for longer than 30 seconds with a stranger, let alone speak to a crowd. And so when I was told by my counselor, hey, I'm a member of this organization called Toastmasters, you should check it out. I was nowhere credible of being a speaker to be invited to Toastmasters, yet I was given the opportunity, and that changed everything for me. I'm standing before you today. And so now that we have addressed the truth with honesty, the next question becomes inevitable. Is it fair to all concerned? And let me tell you, it's not fair when a student's future is dependent on their zip code, where they're born, or simply where they go to school. Some students grow up surrounded by opportunities, whilst others have the same potential, but fewer doors open to them. And fairness does not mean that everyone gets the same outcome. Fairness means that everyone deserves a real chance. And so as an active chairman of the Youth Advisory Board for the City of Brownsville, we have a scholarship program for students, and it breaks my heart every time we call parents and students for them to say, I did not know this scholarship existed. We have funded kids to go to medical conferences in Europe, to attend music parades in California, to attend national chess competitions in Washington, D.C., all a couple of $100s away. What if that kid was the next chess prodigy? What if those individuals were going to be the doctors who would solve a viral outbreak? What if that individual was going to be a world-class musician? All a couple of $100s away. And so that's when I stopped asking, who has the most resources? And started asking, who is being left out? And so now that we have addressed the fairness aspect, something powerful begins to happen. It builds goodwill and better friendship. And I learned that most when I attended RILA 3 years ago as a student. And one lesson that stayed with me to this day is the butterfly effect. I realized how one conversation, one belief, one act of faith can take a student so far in life. And so this past month, I went to RILA yet again for my third time, not as a student, as a counselor. And that changed everything for me. I interacted with students who told me that they had never felt the way they did in an activity called the labyrinth. They were vulnerable. They were open to speak about things that they had never done before, and that made me realize leadership is not about leading a group of individuals to a goal. It's about being compassionate. It's about listening to those individuals when needed to. And that's what I was able to do for those folks. And so for them to feel safe enough to be real, seen enough to be honest, and supported enough to grow is what made me realize it's all about compassionate leadership, and that is what I now try and bring back into my community. Whether it is leading a city board of more than 30 individuals or setting an event for fundraising, it's how you lead to empower the people, and that was my butterfly effect. And so now that we have addressed the goodwill and the better friendship, the last and the most important question: will it build, or is it beneficial to all concerned? And what if I told you it's not beneficial? It's not beneficial if we see giving access as a single immediate transaction. I open the door, somebody walks through, and you close the door. Opportunity is when you open that access for others. And so it's only beneficial when we see this access as something far greater, something that ripples. And so picture this. John goes into the fish market. He did not buy any fish, yet he walks out smelling like fish. Picture this. Max went into a perfume store. He did not buy a perfume, yet he walked out with that scent. What I'm trying to prove is that opportunity works in the same way. Not every opportunity is meant for every student. But under the principles of the four-way test, if we can open that access for every student, the whole community will be beneficial. And so if those 37,000 students are at risk of dropping out, even though they might not see the opportunity that is being provided, they will still benefit in the end of the day because we chose to make investment in the community. And so the four-way test matters to me as much because it's not just a set of questions, it's a challenge. And so as I stand before you here today, I would like to challenge you to tell the truth in our community, the gap that we face. I challenge you to create the fairness by opening doors. I challenge you to build goodwill by listening to others. And I most certainly challenge you to stop looking at benefit as a transaction and something that ripples. Thank you so much.